Have you tried catching a falling knife and got absolutely obliterated? Did you actually blow your account up? Well, we're going to talk about how to catch a knife properly in this video. And you're probably thinking, Forrest, that's crazy. There's no way you can catch a knife. Well, I did just that on Friday. It's not magic. There's no special indicator or anything like that, guys. It's actually just straight up traditional TA, all the TA that I do and really all of my videos. But I'm going to attune it to this setup, which is a big sell-off. A big sell-off when you have a small ATR or average trading range, the daily range. ATR, just think of it as the normal range and whatever the current market is. The range has been very tight recently. So when we have a really big move, it can be scary and it can be hard to figure out where we're going to go. But I'll show you exactly how at the end of this video, I did just that and actually sniped the price within just 2 or 3 points on NQ, called it out way ahead of time. And it was one of my better trades that I can think of in the last 6 months. Honestly, it was an amazing trade. I rolled out of bed late, actually wasn't going to trade, hopped on, I saw the setup. And one of my rules is that if you see an A setup, you got to take the trade. So I saw the setup, called it out. It hit beautifully, had a nice 50 points on the initial run, and then actually turned into a 100-point trade. Before we jump into that, I'm gonna screen share here just in a second. I do have a Discord. Somebody asked if I have a signal group. I don't really think of it as a signal group. We literally just day trade live every single day and call out what we're doing, as well as call out what we think is happening in the market and answer questions to teach people how to trade. So we're very, very different in that regard. And I actually need to mute my TV. It's connected. You can see that I have the chart up, but we're very, very different in that regard. We actually just trade live. There's no magic special course that we're selling you. Sell access to the Discord just so that there is that immediate hurdle. We're not full of just a bunch of, BS. If you want to try out being a funded trader or prop trading, I use Apex Trader Funding. I have 20 accounts. You can click the link down below. They're currently at 71% off, I believe. They might be running a 90% sale off. Regardless of whatever the sale is, you can use my code and it will give you the best discount. That's enough of the disclaimers though. Let's go ahead and jump into the video. So first and foremost, we're starting here on NQ. I took this trade on NQ. What was the trade? I took the bounce off of here and I went long to, which was essentially VWAP. Now you can see here that this was about an 80-point trade. I think VWAP was a little bit lower at the time. It's about 50 points. So we'll replay the price action, talk about what it looks like. But I really want to break down how I saw this trade. So how did I know that we were going to stop here right at this 939 level? In Discord, I actually called it out as 940. I went long at 16,940. So you can see here that I have 939. I went with 940. So this 939, I had this marked. This was a key level that is hit a few times on NQ. You can see here that it's cutting through price action, but I literally just through memory remembered this being a key level that, we can see that it got respected here. And more or less, I kept this line on my chart simply because we have tested it over and over again and we've reacted to it. You can see that ultimately, when you look back, we did cut through it a few times, but that's fine. I remember us reacting to it. So how did I actually have such confidence to go off of this, go long off of this? I went long 5 MNQ, which is $10 a point. Got about $500 out of this trade on the initial run. Then I did a few other trades on the day, which is fine. I called all those out live, but I want to talk about the actual analysis for this trade. So to do that, we're actually going to switch over to ES. Now, this is a key concept, and I want you to write this down if you really want to understand how to do this by the end of this video. Like I said, ES is the dog, NQ is the tail. Now, that's not 100% of the time, but in general, just think of that as a rule of thumb. It's my trading style. We can argue in Discord about how true it is, but it's literally how I interpret the market. I think of ES. I do most of my analysis on ES. I draw a lot of lines and stuff at NQ, but when I'm actually figuring out a daily target or where I think the market's going to move, I do that on ES. I never try to figure out where the market's going to move on NQ. I'll do like the next 5-10 minute analysis on NQ. But when I'm answering questions of what do I think the market's going to do, always looking at ES. So let's take a look at ES. What I actually want to do is we'll leave that chart there and I want to go to this chart. So this is ES on the daily time frame. And it actually gets harder and harder to talk consistently in these videos. It's crazy. Not sure what's going on there. I think I need to breathe. I need to breathe while I'm talking, guys. YouTube is a lot of work. All right. Anyways, my body, recording this on New Year's Eve, by the way, literally it's December 31st. So shout out to all my grinders. But anyways, back to the video. This is ES on the daily time frame. We have the visible range volume profile on the right. And this was the key here. So the volume profile, this is part of the system that we use in the Discord. Shout out to Soul. I shout him out in really every single video at this point. He's the person who actually got me to start using this so prevalently. So I've been aware of it, was not using it. So I want to give credit to him for me actually incorporating it into my trading style so prevalently now. He's a master at the volume profile. I use it a lot and it allows us to snipe these trades like this. And that's really what it was. So how did I pick out this 940? Well, on ES, on the daily time frame, if we zoom in, we can see here that we had precedent for this type of price action. So there was a sell-off here on the daily, came down, and where did we bounce off of? Right at the end of this volume shelf. So the auction, there's a ton of participation in this area, and then there's an area of no participation here. We tend to bounce off of these low value areas or what we call low volume nodes. I have a video explaining the volume profile. Go watch that video and I'll go in depth at, all the analysis of volume profile. while. But really this trade, if you look at where it bounced, it should be pretty obvious of why we bounced. So we came down into this low value area. So the market opened up here. We're like, all right, where's it going to stop? Well, it ran through here. It's a little bit low volume, but the obvious area is right down here at really this 48.10. So you can see that I had 48.10 mark. We ran through 48.10 and look where we stopped. We went right to this other volume shelf. I'll do option J and we can see that we bounced right at this next shelf. So in real time, I'm looking at the market selling off, and this is key here. Let's actually go to my layout, my other layout, and you can see what I saw. So I always have ES and NQ side by side together, and I have this third chart, which I use as a swing chart. We'll get rid of that. So I always have these two together. On the macro, I see, okay, I'm thinking 48.10 is going to hit. We run through 48.10. I'm looking down and I'm eyeballing the chart and I'm trying to figure out, okay, where are we going to bounce? I see that this on the daily is the bottom of the shelf, and I'm timing it with what I have on NQ. I already had this area down here on NQ, which is important. I already had a level pick. I know that these things are going to move in sync. So I literally am eyeballing the chart and I go, oh, by the time ES gets to this key area, NQ is probably going to get to its key area. And I had nothing else in between here. There was no other major key here. And so that was the analysis. It literally was just picking the point where ES is most likely to bounce and then using that with my key levels on NQ to pick a bounce target. And I use this area, which I know previously has been a key target, went long. I called this out, by the way, and we were like 100 points higher. 940 plus 100 is 17,040. I literally called it off this initial sell-off. Now, knives in general, I want to talk about how to identify that the market's going to keep running off and why you need to get out of the way and really open your expectations to take a step back to look to reverse if that's a play that you're going to go way further than you expect. Okay, so I did do some short scalps here, which I really just want to get out of the way of this. I was too zoomed in, and so I missed the short. I want to say that. So I did run some scalps short, but these were like 4 or 5 point trades. Like these are actually terrible trades. They were green, but like in terms of like the quality of the trade based off of how I thought about it, they were bad trades. We only want to do good trades. So I realized I was chasing and I was like, okay, let me take a step back. What do I actually think? What do I see here? I missed the sell-off because I literally had just got out of bed. Didn't see any of this. I missed all that. Okay. So when I took a step back, I was like, wow, we had a huge candle on the 15. There's this huge candle on the 15 with a huge increase in volume. We look at the volume bar here, do a little arrow to it, large sell-off with volume there. What are the odds after having a huge increase in volume like that with such a big move that the market does a V reversal at this candle, at this point in time? What are the odds that the candle does a V reversal right here? Very low, because the market hasn't been doing that. I want to call that out. The market has not been doing that in this environment. So I'm thinking, okay, this looks knife. I feel like they're going to run this through. So the next candle you see, it comes in bottom wicks, little fake out bottom wick, but not enough. It's not a hammer candle, right? It's just a candle with a solid bottom wick. The wick is about the length of the body. And then we see at this point, we get that continuation. We get to 940. I take the long. It's an awesome long. Some other important things to call out in this session is that we had this flag that formed here, flags that formed on both charts, showing that we were going to go higher up into VWAP. I've done a video talking about VWAP. You can see here that we came from here. We had a doji candle as well on ES, showing that this was the bottom. It reversed, went higher, flag, and this is almost a perfect flag formation. The second leg is almost exactly the same length of the first leg in this regard. Same with NQ, nice flag formation. The technicals in the market right now are exceptional, guys, absolutely exceptional. And that really was the trade. So to break this down, go ahead and stop sharing my screen and talk about the keys to catching a knife. Is one, you need to have a higher time frame thesis. That's the only way you're going to catch a knife. Catching a knife, if we demystify it and stop using those words, it's literally just the market moving to the next primary area of liquidity. It's just a fast move. That's all it is. The market's just saying, all right, well, we want to shake up the auction a bit. So it's just going to the other side. That's all it is. And it's doing it in a fashion that's faster than people expect because it goes from slow to fast. That's all it is. And so once the market speeds up like that, you need to step two, take a step back, zoom out, take a step back, look at the higher time frame and pick a target. You might have more than one target. Pick a target that is further than your expectations. This is step 3. Always pick a target that's further than your expectation. Catching a knife, it's better to not get in than to get hurt on the run down, especially if you're trading a product like NQ, because we see here that from top to bottom, this was 155 points. So like I said, it's better to not get in the trade than to get hurt, because a trade like this, especially for newbie traders and really anybody, a good trader is going to go long and then get stopped out fast. So if they're good, they'll be wrong, but they'll get stopped out fast. But if you're bad, your stops are probably bad. Everything about your style is bad if you're new. It's because you're new. So what you want to do is go further out than you expect, use your higher time frames, and be really patient. It's better to miss it than to not be in. The other thing is that if you miss the perfect entry, right? I had an amazing entry. I'll be candid, not all my entries are that perfect. It was actually an insane trade, which is what I'm talking about. Is an insane trade. I caught the bottom of the market. I truly caught the knife, which was dope to see. But it depends on prior work. But let's say you didn't catch that. You actually had there was a double bottom there that you could have caught. There's plenty of time to get a long. There was a flag that I talked about. You could take the flag, long. There are other trades in the session. So never get locked in listen to FOMO. Don't think just because there's a big move, you have to be in a big move to make money. Most people miss those moves, which is fine. I didn't catch the short. I caught the long. The short was a bigger trade than the long that I caught. The long is just, it feeds the ego the need to figure out what the market's going to do next. But the better trade for sure was the short. It was a bigger move. I didn't catch the short. I was asleep. It is what it is. So those layers of psychology, as well as just protecting your capital, being smart about risk, is all very, very important if you want to actually catch a knife. I hope this video was helpful. Please like this video, subscribe, as many of you are. The channel's been growing like crazy. We're up to 4.6K subs now, 4.6 thousand people who have joined the force, which is awesome. More and more people coming into the Discord, more and more people downloading the free trading journal, which is down below this video. Again, in every video, I'll say thank you to each and every one of you that trust me with your time. Keep sending me questions. I love helping people. This is my passion. It's the only reason why I do it. But Forrest Force out. Peace.